Hey friends, how's it going? Hope everyone's having a good afternoon. Let's just before start anything, leave a comment down there, yeah, down below. Follow, like, and of course subscribe. Um, I've watched the CNN so-called town hall with Donald Trump and hosted by Kaitlan Collins, and quite frankly, this was a disaster, and I can't seem to comprehend why CNN or what CNN expected out of this. First of all, I believe they do have hosts there that are far more experienced and and more competent um, interviewing President Donald J. Trump than her for obvious reason reasons, in fact, and it has as those of you who've watched that interview, seen Donald Trump was in full control, and he was able to capture and was been and the audience was very captivating by his demeanor, his confidence, and his approach to everything. He controls the stage, um, and he was very engaged. And I don't know, some of the questions that Caitlin asked him really made no sense and couldn't even comprehend what she expect. And in fact, what was she going? Where was she going? And what was the expectation, or was there an expectation whatsoever? It's very unfortunate because this was not. There was anything positive out of that, if you ask me, that I could notice after in-depth analysis. It was simply a disaster, and that was, of course, a Donald Trump show. And one thing you have to admit and must be acknowledged is the gentleman knows very well how to manipulate and control the media and use, in fact, the media to his advantage. That is something that he has done for quite many years throughout his career as a businessman, or as a TV show, or entertainer, and as a politician. He knows very well how to use the media to its advantage, and he takes great advantage of that. And you can't be mad at him for that. That's a skills that not a lot of politicians does have or are able to have and maintain, and he's amazing at that. So kudos to him again. CNN is a fail. He's a fail network. CNN tries so hard, even after hire Kaitlan Collins. That move itself, I merely and yet to understand what was that move about. However, they seem to think it's working by displaying a few nights ago by having their hosting a town hall with Donald Trump. Of course, it's easy to point out a lot of things that could have done better, being on an outside of that event. However, um, when you are conducting such a widely watched event by millions of people that night, and there is there's a lot that comes with that. A lot of anticipation. The expectation is very high. That's why for months they knew they were going to. They've been planning to have this town hall. They should have been better prepared. They should have handled this in a much more um, competent way. But hey, they had over 3 million viewers or people watched that interview that night. So that's again for them if that's the lens they're looking at it. However, it's simply, in my opinion, not something that will have a long-term a long-term positive effect in terms of retaining a lot of those viewers that watch who normally do not watch CNN and will after the town hall will subscribe or become one of the viewers. Again, it's sad. If you some of the question Kaitlan asked, for example, this
Time
question.
here tonight. We got a great crowd here in New Hampshire. A lot of voters with a lot of questions about what your 2024 term would look like, what another Trump term would look like. We'll get to the voters shortly, but your polls show that you are dominating the Republican race right now, but you are also under active federal investigation for trying to overturn the 2020 election results. Your first term ended with a deadly riot at the Capitol, and you still have not publicly acknowledged the 2020 election results.
Again, I simply think that question was simply ridiculous.
Can you publicly acknowledge that you did lose?
Another one, I didn't get the point for it, but she and the network perhaps only know or can only explain through the agenda why was that question asked, because he had already made it clear that question. And again, as for those of you, whether you're a fan or not, of the former president Donald J. Trump, here how he handle himself and take over. This is a bright example of how he took control of the state.
Going back to your influence, in that 3 hours, over 140 officers were injured that day.
And a person named Ashley Babbitt was killed.
Yes.
You know what? She was killed, and she shouldn't have been killed. And that thug that killed her, there was no reason to shoot her. At blank range, cold blank range, they shot her. And she was a good person. She was a patriot. There was no reason. There was no reason. And he went on television to brag about the fact that he killed her.
I must say that served the former president, and he benefited from that town hall more significantly than the network itself. So try again, CNN. Terrible job, awful. And you guys have Kaitlan go out there and look like a fool. The president made her look like a fool, and she simply looks like she was just reciting what was written for her, and a terrible comic show. It was a kind of terrible comedy show. Okay, thanks again, guys. Let me know what you think. Leave a comment. Don't forget to like, share the link, and of course subscribe so we can get this channel off the ground. Peace.